Hello friends, welcome to Class Remotely, and this is Mehjabeen. I hope you have already watched my video on Louis XVI. If not, the link is on the description below. Do check it out. Today, we are going to focus on Marie Antoinette, the wife of King Louis XVI of France. Scholars and historians have always been fascinated with the circumstances related to her life and death. In this video, we are going to explore why. So, let's get started. Marie Antoinette was born as an Archduchess of Austria on the 2nd of November 1755 at Hofburg Palace in Vienna, Austria. She died on the 16th of October 1793 at Place de la Concorde in Paris, France, when the revolutionaries of France overthrew the monarchy of France and guillotined her publicly. Marie Antoinette was the 15th child of her Austrian parents. Her father was Francis I, Holy Roman Emperor, and her mother was Empress Maria Theresa of Austria. Marie Antoinette's mother, Maria Theresa, was the sovereign of Austria, Hungary, Croatia, Bohemia, Mantua, Milan, Lodomeria, and Galicia, the Austrian Netherlands. As a child, Marie Antoinette received education that was typical of Austrians in the royal family. Along with her siblings, she learned how to sing, dance, and play music. Marie and her siblings enjoyed performing for their parents in the royal court. Marie Antoinette shared a special bonding with her elder sister, Maria Carolina, and that closeness lasted all through Marie Antoinette's life. Now let us look into the Treaty of Versailles, because this particular treaty between Austria and France actually led to the marriage of Marie Antoinette to King Louis XVI of France. So let us see what actually happened. The Treaty of Versailles is a very important treaty in the history of the world. France and Austria signed this treaty or agreement in 1756. According to the terms of this treaty, France and Austria would support each other during the course of the 7 Years' War, which had already started in 1754, and in this war, the strongest European powers had been fighting over the British and French colonies in the US. The Treaty of Versailles was a pact between Austria and France to support each other during this war. Marie Antoinette, the Archduchess of Austria, had to get married to Louis Auguste, the future King of France, because Marie's mother, Empress Maria Theresa, and Louis XV, the reigning King of France, wanted to make the relationship between the two countries of Austria and France stronger, as had already been agreed upon during the signing of the Treaty of Versailles. So, a proxy marriage was held on the 19th of April 1770. Marie Antoinette, who was only 14 years old at that time, was married to Louis Auguste, the eldest grandson of Louis XV. This union cemented the Franco-Austrian Peace Treaty of 1756. After this proxy marriage, Marie Antoinette actually got the chance to meet her husband for the first time on the 14th of May 1770 after her arrival in France. An official marriage between the couple took place at the Palace of Versailles on the 16th of May 1770. In the month of June 1770, Marie Antoinette made her first public appearance as a member of the French royal family. A huge crowd gathered on the streets of France to catch a glimpse of her. The people were curious about this 14-year-old teenager from a foreign country, and initially they were smitten by her beauty. Around 50,000 people had assembled assembled on the roadside of Paris, and nearly 30 of them got crushed to death due to their craze to catch a glimpse of this newest member of the French royal family. Marie Antoinette became the Queen of France in 1774 when her husband Louis Auguste became Louis XVI after losing his grandfather Louis XV to smallpox. At that time, Marie Antoinette was not even 19 years old. Marie Antoinette is said to have had a great fondness for flowers and often liked to be surrounded by irises, lilacs, lilies, poppies, cornflowers, violets, and dog roses. She also had exquisite taste in furniture and porcelain. The people of France began to hate her for her extravagant and frivolous lifestyle. One of the reasons for Marie Antoinette's unpopularity was due to the fact that she became a mother several years after her marriage. She gave birth to 4 children, but not before the people around the royal couple began suspecting that all was not well between Louis XVI and his queen, and that the relationship lacked warmth and connectivity. And so eventually, when the queen became a mother of 4, she had already begun losing the trust and goodwill of the people. During the 1780s, France was experiencing poor harvests. The price of grain had become quite high, and the common people of France were no longer in a position to afford it. The French government was also facing rising financial problems. The people got fed up of the queen's lavish lifestyle despite the emptiness of the royal treasury. The queen's extravagant spending came under criticism in the pamphlets and satires that the people distributed. The French people were now totally disgusted with her. On the eve of the French Revolution, there appeared to be a propaganda going on behind the queen about her insensitivity to the sufferings of the ordinary people in the kingdom. The word circulated that when Marie Antoinette was told that the people had no bread to eat, she was quoted as saying, "Let them eat cake." This quote reflected the callousness of the French monarchy on the eve of the French Revolution. However, today it is believed that the queen most probably never uttered these words. These words had possibly been cooked up by certain sections of the revolutionaries to instigate the people of France to rise up in rebellion against the monarchy. At that time in the French royal circles, King Louis XVI's brother, the Count of Provence, and the king's cousin, the Count of Orleans, were dissatisfied with the way King Louis XVI was handling important governmental affairs. The king could not take any solid decision to solve the increasing government debt. Louis XVI also did not seem to be interested in solving the problems related to poor harvests. The nobles in King Louis XVI's court gave intense pressure to the king to address these critical issues. The result was that Louis XVI passed the order that the Estates General should meet. He requested each village and town to submit a list of their problems. This action of the king gave the people great hope that the French society and the government would be reformed. This meeting was going to be the first meeting amongst the members of the first, second and third estate in the time duration of 175 years. The representatives of the clergy formed the first estate, the members of the French nobility formed the second estate, while the common people of France represented the third estate. The main purpose of the Estate General meeting was to discuss a way that would help the state to get rid of its debt. However, in this Estate General meeting held on the 5th of May 1789, it soon became clear to the people that Louis XVI was only interested in introducing new taxes, and the pressure of the taxes was going to fall on the third estate as usual. the nobles and the clergy would not be required to pay those taxes. The third estate, which was represented by the educated middle class and its members, were in a majority in the Estates General. They were extremely disappointed that no reforms would be introduced in the kingdom. They broke away from the Estates General and expressed plans to govern the country of France without the authority of the king. They were soon joined by the representatives of the first and second estates, who had become totally frustrated over Louis XVI's inability to curb the rising prices of food and his queen's extravagant lifestyle. On the 14th of July 1789, the public anger against the French monarch reached its peak. The Bastille, which was a state prison in Paris, was attacked by an infuriated mob. Several weeks later, the royal family was imprisoned in the Tuileries Palace in Paris by the French revolutionary forces. In 1792, a gang of revolutionaries broke into the Tuileries Palace and made Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette prisoners. The following year, in 1793, on the 21st of January, Louis XVI was executed by guillotine at the Place de la Concorde in Paris. On the 16th of October of the same year, Marie Antoinette also had to suffer the same fate as her husband and was executed. At the time of her death, she was only 37 years old. Thousands of people who were suspected of being enemies of the French Revolution, including many nobles, were also executed in public. The monarchy was abolished and France was declared a republic. With this, I come to the end of this video. Meet you again with another topic. Bye.